So I was doing a lawn renovation all weekend with my neighbor, and we got everything done start to finish. So that might be out before you see this, or it might be coming on the channel after this video, but either way, you're gonna wanna check that out if you're looking for some renovation tips and the steps on how to do everything. I think I'm gonna try to put everything into one video instead of doing a series on it. So that way, if you wanna see everything, you can check that out. And then also, in the past, I have some other playlists that are step by step by step and more detailed. So that's kind of the idea. But last night, right before I went to bed, I checked the weather and it was in the 50s for temperature this morning. I came outside here and it's actually fairly chilly if you are standing in the shade. So I really need to be inside editing today because I didn't get a whole lot done when I was working on that renovation this weekend, but can't do it. I have got to get out here, show you a few things, probably do some mowing this morning as well, and just enjoy this weather while it's here. You don't get many days like this in August, especially here where I'm located, where it's supposed to be about 73 degrees today. All the other stuff I will just stay up all night doing, and let's enjoy the weather.
Right now, it's 65 degrees Fahrenheit.
One step at a time, we're gonna be fine and never alone. I found you in the fire. We never made it out of the house. I found you in the fire. Nobody's ever gonna put us out. I found you in the fire. We never made it out of the house. I found you in the fire. Nobody's ever gonna put us out.
So there it is. The sissy grass is looking pretty good and nice and striped today. So you know, the other day I actually was in my shed and I noticed that I had one bag of Milorganite left. So I was like, I got about 4,000 square feet. That thing at full strength covers about 2,500. So I put down some on this front section, and then I used the rest of it back on the back section behind my fence, which only, like I said, gets minimal, just fertilizer pretty much every year. What's happened in the last couple days is I can get that smell that's come back a bit. And although some of you don't really like that smell, I actually do kind of like the smell of it. I know I'm weird, but that's fine. But I have not put anything else on this for quite some time now, around a month or so. And I would probably like to do an app or two of some iron and just some light liquid fertilizer coming up since we're back to cooler temperatures. I'm not trying to push too much growth or anything like that. There is more heat coming. It looks like this next weekend, so I'm not trying to go too crazy, but just maintain what I have, and we're getting close to renovation season. And what I'm gonna do here, I don't know. I need to do a bit more leveling probably if I can. I usually always overseed it because during the summertime, and a few things happen here where it gets so hot that it doesn't look bad by any means, but there's a bit of stuff down in there that I will usually remove with the dethatcher and then overseed a bit. Always adding new grass in there just to keep it looking good and fresh. So see, if I actually open up some of the canopy here in a few spots, you'll just see a bit of just brown down in there. That it's nothing terrible, but that will all be removed by the dethatcher. And it'll open up a bit more space in between here to overseed some new grass in there. Give it a little air to breathe, and as you can see, it just really comes out easily. Now the other thing you may notice is that I did complete the edging the other day and I finally got that done again. What I was telling you about in the last video was that I haven't watered this now for a couple days, but if you could see this in person, you'd see that this soil layer here, how much taller it is than the actual sidewalk. It just tends to really dry out quickly because of that being exposed. So when I have the grass over top of this, a lot of you were asking, well, isn't it just going to burn the edge of the grass that's actually touching the cement? And surprisingly, it doesn't seem to nearly as bad as I thought it would. What does happen though is the soil really dries out, and then of course the roots for this grass are directly in that soil there, and then this fringe starts to dry out faster. So that's really the whole point of why I wasn't doing that edging part. It's cooled down a bit enough though that I did the edging over the weekend, and of course it looks fantastic and much better like that. Alright, so this area over here is basically a complete disaster at this point. We've sort of let it go because we've been wanting to redo the landscape over here. We've got another project we're about to start in the backyard. which I'll explain coming up too. Not really related to grass, well, kind of, sort of, maybe. It might affect some grass stuff back there too, but we'll find out about that. This whole thing needs to be clean. Bad. Let's do it. Well, there it is, what we've been working on here for the past couple days. I posted a picture out in the front yard just when it was raining, showing what was going on and hoping that my renovation across the street was not going to wash out. And of course, a couple of you noticed that there was something sitting in the driveway. So that would be what I'm standing on right now. Very, very happy to have this thing done, and well, not done, but at least the platform part here done into my shed. So I didn't get to film a whole video on this whole decking thing. I was just doing too much to run around and try and help everybody that was helping us, and I didn't feel very appropriate to stand around with my camera all day long. So when we built our shed, there was an area in between here that we weren't really sure what we were going to do with. For a while we thought we would just put a patio in between those two things and we would leave the decking as is, but then we got to this point where this existing deck is not all that big to begin with. It's a 10 by 10, and then it needs to be refinished and there needs to be some work done to it. So we decided that at this point we could just build one whole deck across here all the way to my shed. Then we can actually change this thing over here to make it a bit bigger and make it more functional for us. And so that's really going to be the plan. We're not obviously done with this part yet. It's going to be probably coming next week. It's going to be so nice though to have that deck in between, a better deck up top, and have it all kind of one cohesive piece and be able to walk right into my shed. Super thankful to everybody that helped out with this project and that is helping out with our project. Neighbors and family members, friends, all of that stuff. So cannot thank them enough for all of their help and expertise. By the way, for all of you who just loved my old ramp, reusing it for now, I know it's gonna make a lot of you happy. No, but we will actually have a legit ramp this time, completely built. Not this flimsy little piece of plywood that I've been using for way too long. So for all of you who hated that old ramp, it will be gone very soon. So the hard part, of course, is having to trample all over the yard, but there's some things that I need to do back in this backyard this year that, to be honest with you, I wish I had time for a full renovation back there, and maybe next year I'll do that. I don't know. We'll see what I have time for. Every time it gets to about the fall season, it seems like I have too many projects going, and that kind of takes a back seat to everything else, but that's okay. It's fine. I just think that it could definitely be better than it is and improved, but it's okay for now. Front yard is looking fantastic here. After that rain that we got, everything just really shot up. It's actually grown like crazy in the last couple days. Basically, I should have mowed yesterday, but I didn't get that done. But just skipping one day, it's amazing how much growth has come out of it with that rain. Fantastic color here. It's back to supposed to be about a high of 90 today. It was really, really nice and cool for a couple days, and that was awesome for the yard too. But back to the heat for a bit, and then we're on the downswing here to fall time temperatures, and of course a whole bunch of yard work that we're going to do when we get to fall. Let's see where we are at. I've been mowing at 3/4 of an inch. At about 1.25 inches, so it has grown. Looking really, really good for August at this point.
For the people that said that I couldn't do it, I take every word, burn it like fluid. Just a red light running right through it. On the top of the mountain, let me fall away to the top of the mountain.
Alright, backyard here. So there's a few things though that I think are still stemming from when I was on vacation and things got stressed and I had some growth regulator going on there. Then I got an attack of fungus, and pretty much at that point it's really hard for the grass to recover when it's not growing very actively anyway. First of all, you'll see some general heat stress over in this little section right here. Now right in this section we have a mixture of things going. Same thing, some heat stress in this section, especially where this tree comes out here, and then over here we just have some patchiness and some dead spots from some fungus. Now I've actually never treated the backyard for any fungus or really used any fungicide. So what I've been doing now that I noticed it was getting to that point was I'm just letting the yard dry out. I don't see anything back behind the fence where it's much drier and much more on the almost semi-dormant side. Any real issues of fungus back there. So I think what happened again was this grass is very, very thick. Once you have to water it pretty heavily and it stays 76 degrees overnight with a bunch of humidity, it's just a perfect recipe for that. So you need to keep things on the drier side if possible while still trying to maintain the grass, and that gets to be very difficult to do. So that was one reason why I was trying to cut it down lower, and I wanted to be lower even than I am this year back here, but it's just too bumpy to get my reel mower on it. Couldn't keep up with the manual reel mowing as much as I needed to, so I went to about 2¼ inches on the Time Master, and that's still fairly low, but in general, with all those grass blades still there and it being really hot overnight, still just gave me too much of a recipe with the stress going on as well. So that's kind of what happened, I think. I didn't see any sort of mycelium on the ground, meaning I didn't really think it was pythium. It looked more like brown patch to me. So I see some green recovery in some of the spots. Some of it looks like it kind of killed off some of the top growth, and maybe some of it underneath. My plan then would be similar to what I did last year, which is come in as soon as it's starting to trend towards the cooler time of the year, and I will dethatch and scarify, whatever you really want to call it, to remove this dead material. And this year I may overseed actually some possible sissy grass in here. Now this is a bluegrass stand, and that's not typically something you would do, but the bluegrass that is here is not the highest end stuff, and the color is not the greatest, so honestly, I'm considering maybe thinning this out quite a bit and putting in some ryegrass into the mixture. It's a lot darker, the stuff that I've been using, and I think I could get it to stripe a bit better than it does as well. If I didn't like it, I'm really on the verge of trying to decide what to do back here, because I would like to cut this a bit lower, sort of to match more of the front, probably not quite as low, but maybe right at 1 inch. And I just can't get there without doing some leveling work and renovation stuff. There's some different ideas that I have going forward on what I might attempt to change, but we'll see. So I've got a whole bunch of stuff here coming up for the fall season. If you're interested in learning really the most important part of the year for cool season grass, you'll want to stay tuned for all of that. I'll be explaining the fall program and what goes on, and then also of course we're doing a bunch of renovation projects that will be continuing. So thank you so much for watching this video. We'll see you next time.